GS पंजाबी ते फिर तुहाडा स्वागत है। मैं हाँ तुहाडी होस्ट गुरमीत सोधी GS विद GS नाल। जिस तरह असीं तुहानूं कई हफ्ते तो कह रहे हैं कि असीं तुहानूं को-होस्टिंग समर को-होस्टिंग प्रोग्राम असीं शुरू कर रहे हैं, जिस दे अंदर असीं चाहते हैं कि यंग टीनेजर्स एनीवेयर फ्रॉम एजेस 13 थ्रू 17 अगर तुसीं इंटरस्टिड हो प्लीज़ सानू ईमेल करो। वी वुड लव इट कि तुसीं साडे नाल इत्थे आके गेट कंफर्टेबल इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कैमरा, पब्लिक स्पीकिंग एंड creative thinking, on the spot questions and answers. That's right, साडा summer co-hosting program शुरू हो गया है and for today we're going to introduce असीं तुहानूं अपने special co-host दे नाल introduce करांगे and देखने आ कि ओ किस तरह आजकल दे टॉपिक जिहड़ा सब तो हॉट है टीनेजर्स विच उन्हां नूं किस तरह टैंगल एंड टैकल करते हैं अपने गेस्ट नाल। सो उस दे नाल ही मैं तुहानूं इंट्रोड्यूस करनी है अपने को-होस्ट जपनीत सोधी नूं। सत श्री अकाल जपनीत।
सत श्री अकाल।
How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me on your show today.
It's my pleasure and of course we're going to talk with Japneet अपने आज गेस्ट नाल गल करनगे गुरनैना चावला नाल कि what exactly is peer pressure. So सब तो पहला मैं तुहानूं पुछनी आ कि peer pressure exactly तुहाडे माइंड अंदर कॉन्सेप्ट अंदर की है?
Peer pressure मैनू लगता है कि वो you know not when you're forced but when you're asked when you're told or asked to do something that you don't want to do and something that it might be difficult for you to respond to it. Maybe you don't want to do it and maybe when you're thinking about it you might think that it's not the right thing to do.
Okay, so you know what, with that मैं तुहानूं opportunity देनी है कि you go ahead and introduce your guest today and see how she thinks about it. So go ahead and tell me.
I have a very special guest. I have Gurnaina Chawla. Hi Gurnaina.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So Gurnaina, what do you think that peer pressure is?
I think peer pressure doesn't have to be said. It's simply just a pressure that is put on you in situations where you have to go one way or another and you have to take a stand and an opinion and you have to make action on it. And sometimes it's not always in agreement with what you believe.
Well, let me ask you, when you say it's not in agreement with something that you believe, a lot of times, and ये नहीं कि सिर्फ teenagers नाल होंदा है, कई बारी सानू भी होंदा है, even people our age, parents, सानू होंदा है कि साडे नाल दे कोई कुछ करदे ने, somebody is buying a bigger house, तानू लगता है कि what, just because to fit into the society, I have to buy that house, okay? So peer pressure ये नहीं कि it's just in your teenage years. As you grow older, the pressure is a little different. Peer pressure is basically जेडे तुहाडे हान दे लोग ने, तुहाडे एज दे लोग ने, what kind of pressure are they putting on you and do you live up to it or not? Do you go with the flow with them to make them happy or do you do what you want to do to keep yourself happy? So let me ask you, in this age already, a lot of kids, इस age तो तुहानू peer pressure दा introduction मिल जांदी है. Basically, you're getting introduced to peer pressure at this age and you guys are tackling it every day in school. So I'll ask you this question first, Japneet. When you're faced with peer pressure, how do you handle it and how does it affect your thinking अगर तानू कोई कुछ कहे करन वास्ते?
Well, when I'm faced with peer pressure, basically पहले तो मैं जाके I would always discuss it with someone. I would always like to go and tell someone that this is what happened and I would express my feelings towards it. I would like to, it makes me feel like I always think, what should I do and what would be the right decision? And if I don't feel that it's the right thing to do, then I avoid it.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I feel that in peer pressure, it's just something that everybody goes through. And it's not easy to get through because peer pressure, there's all different types of peer pressure.
Absolutely.
It could be something very, very simple or something to all the way to the extreme.
Okay.
And you have to do what you feel is right. And if you're thinking twice about it, then you know that something is probably wrong and you should automatically know that you shouldn't be doing that.
Okay. And I'll let you go forward with that with Gurnaina.
Gurnaina, have you ever experienced peer pressure?
I definitely have experienced peer pressure. I'm 16 in high school, and it's definitely involving a lot of different things. You'll get peer pressured to cut class and cheat on tests, but that's highly minimal compared to, compared to what most high schoolers deal with. I know that I've been pressured and invited to parties where I know there's going to be alcohol, and it's just not something, like sometimes it can be a simple thing, like she said, and sometimes it could be a more complicated thing. And sometimes it's actually a positive thing. When kids around you are doing well in school and you're lagging a little bit behind and you're like, you know what, maybe I should, step myself up a little bit. You study more at home, you do your homework, and you put more effort into the work that you do, and that's also what affects your grades. So a lot of doing well in school has to do with the competition. So peer pressure isn't always negative, but it very well can be negative just as much as positive.
I'm really glad you said that. Do you have something to follow up with that? Because I have something on that one, but I'll let you go first.
So now you're saying that in high school, it's like, what would you say, like it's different than what other kids, maybe younger or older, have to face?
Yeah,
based
of course.
from your experiences.
Yeah. Like in elementary school, you'll be peer pressured to throw a rock at a kid. And in middle school, maybe you'll be peer pressured into, bullying a kid or pulling a stunt in a science lab or simple things like that. But when you get into high school, when you get older and you become less innocent in reality, you get pushed into more complicated things that can separate the best people from the worst people. You get pressured into things like alcohol and drugs and relationships that aren't really where you should be in high school.
But there's something that you said that I thought was very interesting. ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੇ ਕਿ peer pressure ਸਿਰਫ negative ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਦੀ-ਕਦੀ positive ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹਾਂ peer pressure, the first thing ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਅੰਦਰ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, it's something bad, I've been pressured into something, but automatically it's a negative thing that goes on. So I'm glad ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕਦੀ-ਕਦੀ peer pressure positive ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਗਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਦੇ grades ਅੱਛੇ ਨੇ। ਐਂਡ peer pressure ਸਿਰਫ ਸਕੂਲ ਅੰਦਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕਜ਼ਨਸ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਏਜ ਦੇ ਐਂਡ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਰੀਅਲੀ ਗੁੱਡ ਇਨ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਐਂਡ ਸਟੱਡੀਜ਼, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਿਣਗੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਉਸਨੇ ਇਤਨਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ, ਉਹਨੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਤਾਂ peer pressure works in both ways, not just bad। ਤਾਂ ਕਦੀ-ਕਦੀ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ਼ਰ ਅੱਛਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ it makes you push forward to do something in a positive direction.
Yeah.
So it works in both ways for you.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be limited to school either. It can be sports, someone could be doing better in a sport, it makes you practice more. Sometimes you could be a musician. If you're a better musician, it causes you to practice more. It's not strictly limited to, school.
Exactly.
It's every aspect of your life. It can just be different in negative and positive terms.
You know what? Let's take some calls. I know we have some viewers that want